What's going on, everybody? It's your boy C-Zar, and we are talking about Fantom today. Sonic, actually, it's formerly known as Fantom, migrated to Sonic here, right? If we go there, look at this. We're at a market cap of about $2.4 billion right now. It's the same token. It's got the same history. They just rebranded, right? At least to my knowledge, a lot of the things are the same. I don't think anything else but the branding's different. But maybe they changed their white paper. I don't know. I don't keep up with that. I'm just a chart guy. I look at the charts. This one's at the request of Rapas Husmabada. We're doing this for you, my friend. Hit the like button, you guys. Subscribe. Let's get into it. Let's do some analysis. We're going to use the FTM chart, not the Sonic chart, because Sonic, if you look at it, it does not have a lot of historical data. It's just 1 month. We're here on a monthly basis. We have all these months, right? Dating back to 2018. If we take, well, first off, we take a look at this thing and just marvel at it, because this thing, I was aware Fantom did really well last cycle. I wasn't aware that it was the one, right? It literally did 2,309x in growth, you guys. That means if you had $1,000 at the bottom and you sold that same amount at the top, you would have made $2 million. That's crazy. And probably if you bought $1,000 down here, you probably wouldn't caught the exact bottom. Probably if you sold $2 million up here, you wouldn't have caught the exact top. So it would have never happened anyways. But still, that's what that math equates to. It's crazy phenomenal growth, you guys. After crazy phenomenal growth, after a very bullish move to the upside, it's very common from a low to a high on your fibs to find support at the 382. From a low to a high, that's exactly what you did. You found support right on your 382, the yellow line here, the 382, right? And now you're moving up. It looks like you're in this kind of parallel channel, postured going upwards, something like that, right? Maybe it's not as steep, maybe it's a little bit less steep, something like that, whatever. But you are also finding support now at previous areas of resistance within the zone, right? If we look at this thing on a more relative aspect, and instead of using the prior cycle highs and lows, or the prior cycle lows and highs, if we use this high to this low, the bull cycle high to the bear cycle low, you can see that you're finding resistance at the golden ratio. But before we get into this, I just want to tell you guys how abnormal this is, right? Generally speaking, from a high to a low retracement, you move up to your 382, yeah, whatever. Sometimes this stuff happens, but 382, 236 to your golden ratio, very common maneuver to make. You oftentimes do find resistance at the golden ratio after it's your first pass from forming your retracement, your Fibonacci zone right here, right? Your retracement zone. It's very common to find resistance at the golden ratio on the first attempt. It's not common to go all the way to the 236. Generally, you find support at the 382 or the 0.5 or somewhere in between. So you found resistance here, fairly common on the first attempt, but you saw a very deep retracement. Then on the second attempt, of which it's very common to go to the 786, 886 area, you did not find a higher high. You actually, or a slightly higher high, sure, but you found resistance here and you did not break out. And then again, something odd, you went all the way to the 236. So you've been very volatile. Productive, higher lows, higher highs, but I would have expected you to be up here already. So the fact that you're not, it makes me curious to see how high up you will go up this ladder by the end of the cycle. Generally, with most coins, I look at them, I see their high to low, and I expect the 2272 to be a realistic possibility, if not the 1886 to 200, and sometimes, rare cases, the 2618 and above can be considered. Right? If we look at this last cycle, from the highest point before you started ripping on the bull cycle here from June 2019. Why did it not do it? June 2019 to the low here in March of 2020. You went quite literally up to your 2272. That's exactly where you went. And I didn't know that. I haven't done this part yet. So I didn't know that it went to the 2272. But you had a double top right there. Immediately, whenever you moved up, you went all the way up to your 1886, showing significance there, finding support at the 1414, showing significance there, continuing to find support on the 1414. And maybe I'll leave this up just to see if we respect it. Hold on, let me delete this real quick. Delete. Nope, not that one. I want to delete this one. I want to delete that one. Yes. Hold on. Your 236 is in line with the 1618. These are overlapping hard, man. So if you were, just based off of this fib, and I don't know if we're going to respect this fib going forward, but we are respecting it now, found support at the golden ratio, the theory would be then that the next target would be 874, and I don't think that you're just going to rip from here to 874, right? But I mean, essentially, yes, over the months to come, 874 is a target. And then after that, you break above that, you have access to anything from $21 upwards to $400. Now, I want to say, first and foremost, I think Sonic formerly known as Fantom, and has real potential to see a market cap over $100 billion. I think it does. Now, does it have the potential to see a market cap that's worth multiple hundreds of billions? I don't know. That's not for me to say. Maybe it does. Maybe it doesn't. It's been around since 2018, so I think it has a chance, at the very least, to see multi-$100 billion market caps. So if we take this right now, we're at about 2.4 billion, right? From the current price to this next target, that would give you about 24 billion. So I don't think you're going to stop there by the end of the cycle. That might be a stopping point. You found support at your 1618. You probably find resistance at your 2618, but I don't think that's the end of your cycle, right? Because you're at 2.4, so that would be 24, essentially 24 billion. The next target up would be a 23x, which would still not quite be 100 billion. I don't think that you're going to stop there either. You might find some resistance there, and of course at any one of these points at all-time highs, maybe you do stop, but I doubt you do. Continuing upwards here, now we're getting somewhere. Now we're above a 100x at the 3113 here, the kind of top of this money zone, as I like to talk about it. This really could be a stopping point. I think this, out of everything we talked about so far, this could be the area that Fantom stops at by the end of the cycle, because that is over $100 billion. $100 billion is a nice psychological area of resistance, right? From a high to a low here. I wonder, does it show any support or resistance or whatever? Come on, high to low. You've got your 1886 there, which I was saying right before, 2272 is likely the area, but with this one we might see resistance lower just because it grew so much last cycle, and it's already at a $2.4 billion market cap. But these numbers here, they're not as high up the market cap chain as I thought they'd be. I mean, right around 100 billion, just above 100 billion here. But if you were to continue this, if you were to go forward up to $156, which is the next target area, that's a lot more. That's more than 200 billion, right? That right there, we're talking about a 188x, 189x almost from the current price, and 100x from the current price would already be a $242 billion. You had another, what was it, 89x on there? 80, yeah, basically another 89x. You're looking at something that's closer. It's above 300 billion, closer to 400 billion than anything, right? This I accept as a possibility, but I'm not accepting it as a prediction, right? I accept it as a possibility, but it's not the expectation. It's an accepted outcome. It's not an expected outcome. As of now, 156 is possible. Potentially even 227 is possible. Genuinely. I genuinely think that even that is possible. Yes. It's pushing the limits, you guys. Fantom would have to be, some kind of magical crypto here, something big's going on that we don't know about, and maybe it is. But by market cap, these check out, to a certain degree. If any coin is going to be worth this high in market cap valuations, over $500 billion in market cap valuations, which it would have to get to if it's getting above this line here. If it's going to see that, it would be a coin that's been around since 2018. I'm just saying. It might be the coin that did a 2000x last cycle. Now it only does a 200x, right? Only a 200x. I gotta plug that in. That way it don't die. Don't die on me. Anyways, maximum outcome 156. Expected outcome anything from about $44 to $70, somewhere in that range, right? I really do think you could see as high as $70. That's, again, I want to be clear here. I don't expect this to happen. I accept it to happen. I accept it as a possibility. But what I expect by the end of the cycle is that Fantom doesn't do a 100x. Rather, you do at the most an 81x, or more likely something around a 50x, or something in between, most likely, right? Something between a 50 and an 80x from here. This price of about 84.4 cents right now. That's what I think your end of cycle stuff is. So good prospects for sure. I suppose the minimum target, if you want a minimum target, right? This is the expected zone. That's the unexpected but accepted potential maximum zone. The unexpected yet accepted potential minimum zone would be about $21, and that puts you at a 25x from here. So Fantom, being one of the top dogs, probably a very secure project to invest in with minimum potential that literally will outperform the average coin in the markets, because the average coin from here, I think by the end of the cycle, will only do something like about a 21 to a 23x. So doing a 25x puts you a little bit ahead of the pack, and that's not at the expected minimum. That's the accepted minimum. The expected minimum is $44, right? That's like double whatever that was down there. So anyways, looking at the weekly RSI here, come on now, We got higher lows here, higher highs as well. It looks like you're postured, poised to go to the overbought zone. Will this bear any good tidings for you? Will you finally escape this zone of the golden ratio? I think so. I think you will move up. I don't believe, and if I'm wrong, cool, but I don't believe you're just going to tear through to new all-time highs. What I do expect to happen from a high to a low, that's not what I meant to do. Low. High here to the low there. I expect that you will find resistance anywhere from about $1.80 to about $2.40. You could go higher. You could go to about $3.36, but again, I don't think you just rip to new all-time highs from the end of this move, especially with the resilience you found at this golden ratio. If I'm wrong, cool. You're going up to $7, man. You're gonna have a finale of a time. Sonic isn't going to do a 10x next month, but an 8x, a 9x, something on the lines of that, right? That'd be basically a 9x right there if you were to go. That's the highest possible outcome that I could see you doing by the end of this next move. What do I mean by next move? I mean, this was a move here, and then you consolidated for weeks. This was a move here, then you consolidated for months. This was a move here, and you consolidated for months. Where's the next move going to take you? I think likely it takes you somewhere in this zone. I'm leaning towards something around 240, but you could go as high as 336. And of course, if I'm wrong, if you're more bullish than anticipated, if you do some Fantom-like movements, some Sonic-like movements, some super speed movements, perhaps by the end of this move, which I think would happen by the end of March, if not early mid-April, 765 could be considered. Anything and everything, but higher targets are definitely on the table, so that's good. And we are expecting this thing to outperform the average coin throughout the rest of the cycle. So actually, let's take this into consideration here. You've already moved up, right, where most coins haven't moved up. Yeah, I feel very confident about 240 to $3.40. 240 to 340. I feel very confident about that area. Okay. Daily RSI, looking at the daily time frame now, getting overbought, nice, good looks. Yeah, you're closing down at the overbought zone and bouncing off of it. Let's see if you've done this before, just to reference it. Why won't it let me pull back? You know, kind of you did it here. Let's see. Right there, right? So if you're looking at the RSI and you're in the overbought zone, a lot of people think, okay, we're in an uptrend, we're in the overbought zone, now it's time to get out, now it's time to sell. But if you sold here right whenever you were getting out of the overbought zone, even right here, and you actually found support on it, if you sold anywhere from here and before, you actually did not complete the whole move. You actually sold not halfway through, but a little bit through it, right? From this low point here on the RSI right there, you continued to grow from your lowest point to a highest point, another 70% from the course of March 11th to March 22nd. So over 11 days, less than 2 weeks, another 70%. That's what that bounce off the overbought zone meant last time. What about this bounce off the overbought zone right here, right there? Well, that was a lot more growth in a lot shorter amount of time, right? You grew about 62%, but only 1, 2, 3, 4 days, right? 5, 6, 7, 8 days later, it was 87% instead of 7%. So 70%. So just as an idea here, and I don't think that you see, I wouldn't equate it to the same percentage growths, okay? But you potentially will bounce off this overbought zone here. And to be completely honest, it's a much more clean look right here. I like this a lot. I would think in reference to those moves, not in reference to the percentages, right? We go back here, right? Bouncing off the overbought zone here, and you had all that to go. Bouncing off the overbought zone here, and you had all that to go, right? Referencing these moves here, you at least are just beginning the move, or at most you're about like halfway through, 2/3 of the way through, something like that. So using that same thought, maybe you're about halfway through here, maybe you're about two-thirds of the way here. If we take a low here to the high, because yes, you found your low here, but this was the low. This is when you started your move up. So low to the high here, if we were to split this thing in half and put it basically like right there, maybe make it out to be, you know, that's 2/3, and then this is that extra third, that would take you basically right up to, wait, no. Okay, yeah, but we're on the daily basis. So that would take you right up to about $1.47, potentially by the end of the month. Okay, something like that, yeah. So on this daily aspect, again, I don't expect that you're just going to move up to prices above $2, $3. I don't think you're just going to retrace this range all in one fell swoop, right? It's not going to be like this. There will be retracements along the way, but on a daily time frame, those might be more obvious, right? So what I'm saying here is I think you do continue this move up rather immediately on a daily perspective. I think over the next week, by the end of the month, even going into the first couple days of March, you will be moving up to prices that are at, you know, anywhere from $1.25 to likely something that's at $1.54, or maybe even above that. You could move up to 220, 223, 222, something like that. Anything and everything in this range here makes sense to me, because by that like quote unquote 2/3 method, where you take this and you cut it in half, you put it up there. That would give you a 1/3 extra of the move, in comparison. Doing that kind of analysis, or that kind of way of thinking, it's not really analysis. I guess it's analysis, but it's a way of thinking as applied to the analysis. It would make sense that we do progress higher, likely even above this high here by the end of the month, which would be good tidings. That likely does set us up for prices at about 223, 228. I would genuinely expect that. I think that by the end of the first week of March, you're at about 223. So you're at 84 cents now. That's awesome, right? You've got some growth to go. You're going to see 160%, I think, over the next 2 weeks, something like that. If not at a minimum, something at least that's around like 70% growth, which, hey, from a percentage standpoint, that makes sense from what we saw before, right? If instead of 2/3 of the move, you are halfway through, which you could be halfway through, it's very possible. If you're halfway through, then that would mean you take this, take the white line, not the fibs, you put it there, and then boom, halfway through would imply, yeah, you go right up to your 2272, right there, literally. I think that's what you do, man. I think that's what you do personally. I got nothing else for you guys. If you liked the video, hit the like button, subscribe if you want to see more content like this. If the question arises at all, is it a good time to buy Fantom? Yeah, absolutely. Not financial advice, not a financial advisor, but yeah, right now it's probably a really good time to buy it. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, bouncing off the 50, looking ferocious, looking dominant as hell. Look at that uptrend in the 4-hour. Perfect. Higher lows, higher highs, perfect parallel channel. Yeah, I don't think it's done yet. I think this next move will be the end of you, though. It'll give you some bearish divergence or something to build down from. Yeah, and I say the end of you, I just mean the temporary end of you. You're going to continue to grow more in March, but I think until the end of this month, you're going to go somewhere above $2, somewhere up in here, and then you'll consolidate maybe the first week or even the first 2 weeks of March, and then end of March, you're going to rip through and go up towards your current all-time high area. That's what I got in store. So hit the like button, subscribe. I'll see you guys on the next one. Take it easy. Bye.